Pro Football Focus has come out with their offensive rankings as we get ready for the start of the 2025 NFL season at all of the top position groups: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and offensive line. And today I'm going to be reacting to where PFF has the Steelers ranked on offense heading into the year this year. But before we get into the content today, the same exact stuff, guys. PFF makes you pay $300 a year to view this content, all right? And we think that's ridiculous here at Steelers Talk. So today we are giving it to you 100% free, and you guys are absolutely welcome for that. So click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you guys want premium Steelers content, 100% free, and you don't have to get behind a paywall to watch our content. So that's what we provide for you guys here on YouTube. So let's start here with the quarterback room in Pittsburgh, where PFF has the Steelers ranked 18th in the league heading into the year. Aaron Rodgers ranked 18th among 42 quarterbacks last season in Pro Football Focus grading with a 78.0 grade with the New York Jets. And, Aaron went under a lot of adversity last year, to say the least. And I really don't think any quarterback in the league could have thrived in that environment that was completely crumbling around Rodgers last year. They fired their head coach after 5 weeks. They replaced their offensive coordinator midseason as well. Their coaching on the offensive line was absolutely terrible, and there's a bunch of missed assignments both in pass protection and in their run blocking schemes. They were 31st in rushing last year per game, so they had no run game. 29th in scoring defense after they fired Robert Saleh, so they didn't have a defense. Special teams was terrible with 30th in made field goal percentage. They lost multiple games because of missed field goals last year. A lot of people forget about that. They are the most penalized team in the National Football League last year, and then on top of all that, Rodgers was playing injured. Not only was he getting back from an Achilles tear at 40 years old, but he was also playing with a partially torn hamstring for most of the year, was dealing with an MCL sprain in his knee, and also had a low ankle sprain. By the way, he played through all of that and still had as many passing touchdowns as Josh Allen, the league MVP. And then you take a look at his advanced stats. Obviously, they don't look fantastic, most of them anyway. 22nd in adjusted EPA per play, 28th in success rate, 36th in completion percentage over expected, 39th in average depth of target, so he wasn't really throwing the ball down the field that much at all. But some of the more encouraging stats: he was 14th, still top half of the league in touchdown percentage, 17th in big-time throw percentage. He was also top 10 in total big-time throws, and he was top 5 in turnover-worthy play percentage, so he's still taking care of the football, and he's still getting the ball out fast with the 6th fastest average time to throw. And I think the proper context here to view Rodgers' numbers and his production last year in New York is to compare his production to what Zach Wilson, the same quarterback in the same system, dealt with in 2023. And as you guys can see there, Rodgers' numbers compared to Wilson are way, way, way better than what the 2023 Jets quarterback was able to bring to the table. So Rodgers absolutely, I think, elevated that group last year. And then there's also the fact that you got former 40-year-old quarterbacks changing teams and really having success with their new squads. Brett Favre with the New York Jets before leading the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship game in 2009. I think Rodgers' numbers were better than Favre's that year, especially that interception percent rating, and then the overall passer rating was almost 10 points higher as well. And then the GOAT, Tom Brady, in 2019, his final season there in Foxborough, I would say Rodgers' numbers last year with that crumbling Jets situation were better than what Brady's were with the Patriots in 2019. And then, of course, Brady took a Bucs team the following year that didn't make the playoffs the season before to the Super Bowl and won that damn thing as well. So I think that there's certainly historical precedence for Rodgers to have a bounce-back season, potentially even a top 10 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Now, the tricky thing is Aaron just hasn't been a top 10 quarterback since 2021 when he won his last MVP. You can take a look at his numbers over the last 4 seasons. That 2021 campaign was absolutely phenomenal. Over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, just 4 picks, and a QBR over 74. But then his final season in Green Bay in 2022, and then his final season in New York in 2024, very similar production. So a lot of people think that's the type of quarterback Aaron Rodgers is at this point in time in his career. But he was playing hurt in 2022 and 2024. In 2022, he broke his thumb that he played throughout the entire season on his his throwing hand. I think that's definitely a valid excuse. And then last year with everything going around him and with the partially torn hamstring, it's certainly impressive that he was able to put up the numbers he did despite playing injured in that environment. But I think Rodgers still has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback. He still has a quick release with incredible arm talent and zip. He's still one of the smartest quarterbacks in league history, and he protects the football better than just about anybody in the league. So the Steelers are looking for somebody that can manage the game, not lose games for them while their defense and run game kind of drive the ship. Rodgers is more than capable of fulfilling that role, in my opinion, but he definitely does have a lot to prove heading into 2025. So fill in the blank for me down there in the comments section. Aaron Rodgers will be a top blank quarterback in the NFL this year. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Will he be top 10, top 15? Does he just stink and he's not even in the top 20? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Mando. And while I'm telling you about Mando today, let me know how good you think Aaron Rodgers is down there in the comment section. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And guys, summer is coming in hot, literally, and it's really about to get hot out there in Latrobe at Steelers training camp. And this year, I'm trusting Mando Whole Body Deodorant to keep my pits fresh and dry on my yearly training camp trip to Pittsburgh. Mando's entire line of products are clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours, are baking soda-free, paraben-free, and come in a variety of fresh scents like Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, or my favorite, bourbon leather. Guys, I absolutely love their bourbon leather scent. I have their body wash. I have their deodorant. I actually brought my stick of deodorant to show you guys today, just to show you that I actually use this product and I actually love this product. I use it every single day, and I'll be taking this stuff on my trip to Pittsburgh next week for the start of training camp. So if you guys want to try out Mando today, you can get their starter pack, and that really is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash. You guys can also get deodorant wipes, which are highly recommended as well. Plus, you get free shipping. So as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered from head to toe. Protect your pits and smell great doing it with our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. And at the running back position, PFF ranks Caleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren 26th in the National Football League heading into the year. This is what Dalton Wasserman from Pro Football Focus had to say about the Steelers running back room. Pittsburgh retained Jaylen Warren despite his career low 64.3 PFF overall grade last season. He presents a viable option but has never taken on a starting workload in the NFL. Former Eagle Kenneth Gainwell also joined the team in free agency, though he's earned a paltry 54.3 PFF overall grade over the past 2 seasons. The brightest ray of hope may be third-round rookie Caleb Johnson, who earned an 86.7 PFF rushing grade last season and should be a good fit in Arthur Smith's zone run scheme. So listen, guys, I think 26th with this group is going to look silly at the end of the year. With all due respect to Dalton, I think that this is going to be potentially one of the best running back rooms in the National Football League, and I love where the Steelers are at in this room heading into the year. Jaylen Warren, in my opinion, guys, is one of the most underrated running backs in the league. Now, last year was probably his worst year as a pro because he was dealing with injuries throughout the year. He was playing through injuries, all this different stuff, but he has one of the only receivers in league or running backs in league history to average over 5 yards a touch in his first 3 years of his NFL career. He's got one of the best explosive run rates in the league. He's got a really good missed tackle rate as well. He's got fantastic contact balance. He's also a really good pass protector and pass catcher out of the backfield. He's a legit screen threat. So while Caleb Johnson is kind of getting ready to take on the future quote-unquote early down running back role in this offense and kind of be that quote-unquote Derrick Henry role in this offense led by Arthur Smith, Jaylen Warren is going to be able to take on that number 1 running back responsibility. And then by the end of the season, I think Caleb is going to play well enough where he is that early down running back with Jaylen Warren getting those pass-heavy down responsibilities in the shotgun and all the different stuff they're going to be doing on pass-heavy downs. But I do think that this running back room has a chance to be really, really good this year, especially if that offensive line in front of them can take a big step forward. When it comes to the wide receivers and the weapons that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to work with here. PFF ranks the Steelers 29th in the National Football League, so needless to say, PFF isn't loving the Steelers' offense heading into the year, but this is what Trevor Sikkema had to say about the Steelers' offensive weaponry. The Steelers traded for DK Metcalf in the offseason, but then shipped off George Pickens. That profiles as only a slight upgrade for a team that finished 20th in PFF receiving grade in 2024. Pittsburgh should get more out of second-year receiver Roman Wilson, who was largely injured last season, and the backfield combination of Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell brings some third-down pass-catching ability. And, something that I think that kind of shows that nobody knows who Calvin Austin III, and nobody sees him coming, is that he doesn't even get a mention in this article from Trevor Sikkema. He's going to be probably their number 2 wide receiver this year, and I think he's going to have a Darnell Mooney type of season where he might even get close to 1,000 yards receiving this year. He threatens to all levels of the field. He's a yak threat on underneath routes. He's also a really great intermediate threat with his route running ability and quickness, and then of course he's got the ball tracking ability and the long speed to threaten a defense deep. So I really like Calvin Austin III as a dynamic receiving threat, and I think he's about to put the league on notice that is completely sleeping on him right now. But there's also the reality that Pittsburgh's strength when it comes to their weapons group is their tight end group, because they're going to be living in more 12 and 13 personnel, which is 2 and 3 tight end sets, than any other offense in the National Football League. This is going to be their bread and butter. They want to force you into bad matchups. They want to force defenses to play heavier. And Jonnu Smith is going to be their yak threat, their manufactured touch threat, their screen threat. Pat Freiermuth is going to be the guy that's your possession type of tight end, the guy that can stretch the seam, the guy that can sit in the soft spots and zones. He's got really good hands. He's going to be a red zone threat. And Darnell Washington's going to be almost like your 6th offensive lineman out there in your 13 personnel packages on early down. So I think the Steelers feel very comfortable with the kinds of versatility and size that they're bringing to the table here. So even if there's not the most talent in the world in this tight end and wide receiver group, I think it's going to be a perfect fit for Arthur Smith's offense and his vision for what the Steelers are going to be on offense this year. Then the final category that Pro Football Focus talks about when it comes to the Steelers offense here is the offensive line, where they give the Steelers offensive line a respectable rating, still below average rating of 21st in the league. This is what Zoltan Buday from PFF had to say about the Steelers up front. One of the NFL's youngest offensive lines will be protecting one of the NFL's oldest starting quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers. 3 starters are entering year 2, while left tackle Broderick Jones will play his 3rd NFL season. Center Zach Frazier has already proven himself in the NFL, ranking 5th among all centers in 2024 with a 77.9 PFF overall grade. But the other young players will need to step up in 2025. And guys, heading into the season, I actually don't mind this ranking because, as he points out here, the Steelers have multiple question marks on their offensive line. And there's a lot of potential here, a lot of high draft picks, a lot of physical talent on the field, but they need to be developed by offensive line coach Pat Meyer, who hasn't done a great job to this point in his Steelers tenure at developing offensive line talent. And a lot of these guys do have a lot to prove heading into the year. Broderick Jones has been terrible at right tackle his first 2 years in the league. He's moving over to left tackle. Is that going to be any better? We're going to get an answer to that this year. Certainly a lot of potential given his first-round pedigree, but it could also be just as bad on the right side his first 2 years. Mason McCormick heading into year 2, he had to move over from the left side to the right side and get used to NFL-level competition in his rookie season. It was never the plan for him to play in year 1, but with the James Daniels Achilles tear, he got on the field earlier than expected, and he did struggle. So we'll see how he does. And then Troy Fautanu, he's great when he's on the field, but the question is, can he stay on the field? Is his knee issues kind of like chronic and degenerative, or is it just a one-year thing where he's going to be able to stay on the field? That is a big question mark heading into the year. So you take a look at where PFF ranks the Steelers heading into the year on offense. 18th at quarterback, that's their best ranking, by the way. 26th at running back, 29th at receivers, and 21st on the offensive line. They're not too thrilled about where the Steelers are sitting at here heading into the year. Their average there among those rankings is 24th. So I would once again predict that this team is a bottom 10 offense in the National Football League. And honestly, I can't necessarily blame them for ranking Pittsburgh's offense low heading into the year, because they have a lot of question marks and a lot of things to prove. Aaron Rodgers needs to prove that he can bounce back after 3 years of not playing at a top 10 level, right? This running back room, completely unproven. Caleb Johnson needs to prove himself, all right? The wide receiver room, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, somebody needs to step up in that wide receiver 2 spot. And as we discussed, there's plenty of question marks on this offensive line as well. So the way I would describe the Steelers offense here, guys, is that they have a lot to prove and they have a lot of question marks, so you can't rank them too high heading into the year. However, the arrow is definitely pointing up in all 4 of these areas. All right, I think Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback this team has had since prime Big Ben. I think that with Caleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren, those two have the potential to be one of the best running back duos in the league. I think that Calvin Austin III and Roman Wilson could both be very effective pieces in this wide receiver room this year. And then this offensive line has a bunch of early round draft talent on there with a bunch of high draft pedigrees. So if all these things kind of work together and come together at the right time, this could be one of the best Steelers offenses we have seen in a very, very long time. I break down my thoughts on the Steelers offense, my full in-depth breakdown of Arthur Smith's scheme and everybody's roles in this Steelers offense in an in-depth video we put out last week. I'll put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show and put the chip in the top right. Just click that to watch that video now. So true or false? Let me know down there in the comments section to finish up today's show. The Steelers will have a top 10 offense this year. Type T if you think that's true and all these question marks end up panning out for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, or if you think it's going to be more of the same here in Pittsburgh and they're going to have a bottom 10 offense again this year. Type F if you think it is false. All right, that'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end with me here today. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already for premium Steelers content every single day, 100% free.